Any way that people can write me, we'll be glad to get them a copy. And some of the stores still carry it. The Ernest Tubb record shops still carry the book, so it's still out there.
Now, I hear that you found a cabin at one point.
Oh, yes, we found a cabin.
You want to tell us a story about that?
My father was from Alabama, and that's where I was born and raised for the most part. And there's a place that my dad used to go to get away from it. And it's down in a town called Alex City, Alabama, and there's a lake down there. And the old part of the lake was called Kalijah Bay, and there was a cabin. And my dad used to go down there, and it is documented that in August of '52, my dad and my very pregnant mother were at the cabin. And what's very historical about that for me is that my grandmother came to the cabin, and in front of witnesses my dad admitted that yes, she's pregnant and I'm the father and I'm taking the baby. But also to that weekend, my dad wrote 2 little songs. He wrote Kalijah and Your Cheating Heart in this cabin.
In that cabin.
In that cabin.
Well, that's a bit of history right there.
That is a bit of history. And he goes in and records them in September '52, and then they become the all-time standards in country music. But through the years, that cabin disappeared. In fact, my husband and I went down to Lake Martin at one time trying to find out from bits and pieces, and we couldn't locate it. Well, we were given a call, and there's an organization in Alabama called Children's Harbor, and it's a camp for seriously ill children. And they asked would I put on the Kalijah Reunion, the Jett Williams Kalijah Reunion country music show, with proceeds going. And what happened was, and in the process, they said we want to find the cabin, and then they said we found the cabin, and we would like to get it back to its original location. Oh, wow. And the original location is where they built this camp for the seriously ill children. But it had been moved, and this wonderful family spent their summers in it, and they'd had it for 30 years, and so it's pretty hard to say, would y'all please move out, and we want to take it. But they were very gracious and let the cabin go back, and Ben and Lou Ann Russell, who are the benefactors of Children's Harbor, built these people a cabin to replace that one, and the cabin went back to its original location, and Mrs. Russell spent 1 year refurbishing that cabin to its exact 1952 setting. And there's a picture on the wall of what it looked like. And you can go to that picture, and everything in that cabin is down to the detail. She had the same upholstery done. She had the same paintings redone. She even had them put the nails in the original holes of the pine, and it's all that knotty pine, so you can see where he got that line for Kalijah. But the magazines are August '52, and if anyone's down there in that area, you can give them a call, and you need to treat yourself to go into that cabin and just experience a little bit of Hank Williams.
Yeah, that would be something everybody should do. Any country music fan should do. Now, I understand that you and your husband spent a night in the cabin.
Yes, when they did the dedication and they reopened it, we were given the honor to be the first people to spend the night in it. And I also was given a set of keys to it where I can go down there and use it, whenever I want to if it's available. But I don't think we slept a wink, because you just the hair standing up on your arms, and you could just feel Hank. But one thing that was very precious about that particular weekend, for the show that I told you about, we had stars. We call it Stars Fell on Alabama, and my husband and I invited Freddie Hart and Hank Locklin and Jeannie Pruitt and all these artists from the state of Alabama. And the night before, we went over to the cabin without telling anyone, no media, no television, no anything, and we sat on that front porch, Razzie Bailey, and we passed the guitar around, and each one of us sang their favorite Hank Williams song, and it was one of the most special nights. And I think Jeannie Pruitt said, let's dedicate it back to old Hank.
Yeah.
And so we just went over there and had a little private picking.
Now, speaking in Kalijah, there's, I guess, a couple of different charity organizations you're involved with. One of them is Kalijah Days. Is that?
The Kalijah Days is the show that we do down there for the Children's Harbor.
Right.
The other charity that I'm involved with, that's the one in Alabama. And where I live here in Tennessee, we give a big country music show and beauty pageant and everything, and those proceeds go to a scholarship fund, which is available to our students and residents here that can go to a 4-year college, but also to a community college or a technical school. And since I live in a rural county, a lot of these kids, really don't want to go to a 4-year.
Right.
They want to go to, get computer skills or
like a VOTEC.
Yeah, VOTEC. And so that's just as important too. And so those funds are available, and we give 8 scholarships a year away.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And we have a good time doing it.
I can imagine. Also, in the last year or so, you've been doing a special touring deal to kind of bring the magic, I want to say, of Lefty Frizzell and your dad kind of back into the mainstream. Can you tell us about that?
Well, there was